What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. Kel Dansby here with the old man Andreas and Kel. Another week, another stacked week of combat sports. So we are putting boxing and MMA together today. It makes sense because Jake Paul fought. And if you're any time to put together boxing and MMA, it's when Jake Paul fights an MMA fighter. So we'll be talking about that fight today, previewing UFC 304 from London and talking about everything else going on in the boxing world. Tons of shit to catch up on. The old man is at ESPN, kind of following everything, even though, MMA is his thing. Make sure you guys check out all his articles this week pertaining to UFC 304, what's going on across the pond. Dre, I'm actually surprised to see you being here. A
Why?
direct flight from London to Vegas, 11 hours.
Oh no, no. They didn't. None of us went. Brett's going to the studio, and I'll be at home. So
Oh, okay, cool, cool. I've done that
yeah,
flight. That shit was it was pretty easy. I wish I had business class. That's my next goal in life is to fly business class like overseas. And I get the bed joint. That's
yeah.
that's on the bucket list coming up soon. So you're at the crib. I'm here in Vegas. That means we got all the time we need to chop it up and talk everything. I wanted to lead with boxing though. And not just because Jake Paul fought. It's because I think we've reached a point where you're officially fed up. Like you're
Who
over
me?
it. You're
Oh
done.
yeah, yeah.
Canelo is fighting Edgar Berlanga
Over it.
September 14th in Vegas, going head to head with UFC, what was UFC 306, which is now Riyadh season
It's
over
still
here. No
306.
chance. Is it? Are
Yeah.
they skipping the number or no?
No. As it stands right now, it's still 306. They're just
Okay.
rebranding it Noche. Whatever.
Yeah, no chance. UFC. Cool. UFC 306 then here in Vegas, head to head, Mexican Independence Day weekend. And you said, I wash my hands with Canelo.
I do. I do. What's the point? Like, look, man. You can do what you want if it's the end of your career. Floyd did it. He fought Andre Berto. But it was
Yeah.
very obvious Floyd was at the end of his career, right? Floyd was never talking about I'm the best champion.
No.
I'm trying to be undisputed this. I'm trying to make history. He was trying to make money. And he was very clear about that. So when he fought Andre Berto, it was like nobody cared. Like that fight was stupid. Everybody knew it was stupid. Nobody was a fan of it. But he, for whatever reason, wanted to get Berto paid. And then he fought Connor and he got really paid.
Yep.
Canelo still acts like he's trying to make history as a fighter. Like he's talking about legacy fights. And this will be so if you go down the list since he lost to Bivol, Canelo fought an old ass Triple G. Well, a fight that should have happened a couple of years earlier, at least. He fought an undersized Charlo. He
Yep.
fought who gives a shit Ryder. He fought Mungia, who was never that good, not good enough for him and not deserving. It was coming up from 60 to 68. And now he's fighting Berlanga, who's not deserving of a chance to fight for anybody's title at super middleweight. All the while, Benavidez is right there. He's been there, been waiting, been calling him out, been a threat, proven box office now, shows that he can sell out arenas, shows that he could be a main event or a co-main event, and is clearly the biggest threat to Canelo. And Canelo's like, nah, I'm going to fight Edgar Berlanga, who sucks. Like,
He's not the best of fighters.
no, look, when Berlanga was just knocking fools out in the first round, you could have made a case. But then Berlanga just started getting exposed. Fight after fight, he showed no improvements. He couldn't get guys out of there. He was winning close fights against nobodies. Um, and now he gets an opportunity to fight Canelo. Like that's egregious,
It
right?
doesn't make much sense.
It,
But it
made,
was
it makes no sense.
this is what
You know,
Oscar promised him when he went to the zone, though.
I mean, listen, Oscar makes promises all the time, right? Canelo's the one who makes the decision. So once again, Canelo's going to avoid David Benavidez to get Oscar paid. This is backwards, man. You remember, like literally said, Oscar will never make another dime off me." After the zone split,
Yep.
he said, "Fuck that guy. He'll never make any more money off of me." Now he's getting two checks off you: the Mungia fight in Berlanga, all because you don't want to fight David Benavidez. And at this point, there is no other way you can look at this but a duck. There's nothing else. There's no defense that you can't say Canelo's not ducking David Benavidez?
Benavidez had two options. So Benavidez has exercised his other option, and that's to stay at 175. And he's going to
Yeah.
probably take a couple stay busy fights and then go after the winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol.
I mean, that's not what he wants, but he's going to go do it, right? Like Benavidez is not going to wait his entire career for somebody who's clearly unwilling to fight him.
Yeah, but I told you that's how Benavidez fights Canelo because he needs something Canelo wants. Canelo has everything to lose, nothing to gain by fighting uh, David Benavidez right now. Nothing. He gains nothing by beating David Benavidez. He really doesn't. He shuts up a couple people who are talking and saying he's ducking.
He shuts up a lot. There's a lot of people.
There's nothing else. If David Benavidez loses to Canelo, then loses to Bivol, then loses to Beterbiev, what is that win to Canelo? Ain't shit.
No, it's still no. If David Benavidez and Canelo fight right now, like champions never have necessarily anything to gain by defending their titles. The fucking point of being a champion, right? Like when you're the champ, the target's on your back. So you fight the people who are challenging for your throne. That is your job as a champion. So it's never going to be a situation where you have everything to gain by being, you're the champ. Clearly you have everything to lose.
When he went up to fight Bivol, he had everything to gain. He's proven that.
And Bivol was the one who defended his throne.
Yes,
right?
But monetarily, he gained a shit ton. So he had a reason to fight Canelo. If Canelo, for some reason, fought Terence Crawford, they would add a lot to his legacy. Crawford's not going to lose 3 more times. Crawford's towards the end.
He's
sure. But if he wanted to, that's a better fight than fighting David Benavidez right now because you have at least something to gain. You can say you beat a guy who is 2 division undisputed, number 1 pound or number 2 pound for pound in the world, one of the best of this generation, best versus the best. You can say that. That adds a lot. We still don't know what David Benavidez is going to end up being. That win could look like nothing in 5 years. Or it could look great.
I disagree. You have to fight him.
You can let him go and fight the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. And if he wins that, now if Canelo fights him, that is a great fight because Canelo not only gains undisputed in the 2nd division like he's wanted, but he can cross the boogeyman off his list and say, okay, I got him off of that. Now I have tons to gain at 175. Fighting him at 168 is not the same.
Nah, this is clown shit, man. It's clown shit.
Give up the titles. I'm giving you the reasoning.
But give up the titles.
The organizations aren't making him.
No, they're not. But it's clown shit because if
again, and to be fair, this is fighting a mandatory. No one told them to make Edgar Berlanga his mandatory.
No, but it's again like there's I said this before. Canelo at one point was daring to be great by running through the super middleweight division and then proclaiming that he's trying to make a legacy as a fighter. And then he said, it's not about the money. It's about being the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. This is not how you become that. Clearly, he's given up on that. After losing to Bivol, maybe he just said, well, fuck it. I'll be number 2 because they're going to always love Julio Cesar Chavez. And I'm never going to get past that guy. Maybe that's what he did. But I don't think that when you talk about machismo and being great and legacy and being the best and wanting to prove and like proving to everybody that you're the best, you don't fucking fight Edgar Berlanga. And more importantly, this I just mentioned this is the 5th fight, the 5th underwhelming fight in the row for Canelo. 5th.
Yeah, a Triple G you count as underwhelming. At least that's a name.
I mean, it was a name, but we all knew Gennady wasn't the same Gennady. Like after Gennady fought Sergey Derevchenko when he got hurt, then we had COVID. Like there was a lot of time between the 2nd and 3rd fights. And Gennady was 40 that night. And it clear 40 at that point. Canelo went around Gennady before he fought him. And then he fought him and then he beat him. And it wasn't a great performance that night. It was one of those like, yeah, you kind of beat an old Golovkin.
Yeah.
Then he fought Bivol and lost. And this is, I mean, anybody listen to this podcast or read my articles, the decline of Canelo started around the Bivol fight because the output was diminishing significantly. So it's clear that Canelo's not on the upside of his career anymore. He's on the back 9. But Berlanga? I can't get past that. You fought Charlo was 2 weight classes beneath you, and then you went and said, "Oh, Terrence Crawford, he's too small." But you fucking fought Jermell Charlo. It's a lot of hypocrisy in everything that Canelo is doing right now. Like, what did Munguia do to deserve a fight with you? And when the fight happened, Munguia was clearly outclassed. He didn't have a shot, right? If you look at it from a bank account perspective, fine. I get it. Canelo's going to make money either way. He can fight me and you in a tag team match tomorrow. He'll still make a bunch of money.
Sure.
The idea of, like, these are the things that hurt boxing, right? Like, the idea that the best aren't fighting the best, and the best, supposedly the biggest name in boxing, is clearly, it's not like, oh, don't nobody know who David Benavidez is.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who David Benavidez is now. He is the guy who's been calling out Canelo for over 2 years, and that every time he fights, he's beating the shit out of somebody. We all see it. And now Canelo's like, nah, I'm not going to fight him. Oh, what does he bring to the table? Motherfucker is your challenger. He's a 2-time champ. He's undefeated. Take his O. Don't listen. If somebody else takes his O, it's not the same.
It's not. This is the type. If he goes up and loses, then it's like, well, you're never fighting it.
Yeah,
and it's one of the biggest what ifs.
It's to me, it's really, I've seen people compare it and say, well, what about Terrence Crawford fighting Boots? Why? I was like, the 2 totally different things. Boots and this kind of just got here, right? Like, Bud he wiped out the division, like he wiped out the division, wiped out Errol Spence, he's going after Canelo. He's made it clear, I got like a couple fights left. I want Canelo to be one of them, and, you know, maybe another weight class. There is no reason for him to fight Boots. And people want to see it, I get it. But after Boots' last performance, and I still like Boots, I really got a problem with how much Boots get hit. He willingly gets hit, right? He'll go in there and Haruzian, or I mean, not Haruzian. Who did he fight? Evanesian?
Evanesian.
Like, his job was to beat Evanesian faster than Bud did. But he's already damaged goods, right? Like, he's already got the brakes beat off him by Terrence. So it's like beating him faster, which he did by what? Like a few minutes?
Yeah. Maybe a half a round.
But in that fight, he was allowing Evanesian to get inside and hit him.
It wasn't as impressive.
No, it wasn't. And that's not to say Boots isn't impressive.
Yeah.
My concern is that it's very offense first. And you can't do that with Bud. Right? No. Like, now if Boots were to move up to 54 and wipe out, I don't know, just pick some people in that weight class. Like, if Boots beat up on Keith Thurman, let's just say that, then I'd be like, all right, we might have something here. But beating David Evanesian is not going to get you a Terrence Crawford fight.
I don't know what Keith Thurman is right now, though. That's unfair.
We don't, but at least there's a name attached to it, right? At least there's something that you could be like, this is a few casuals would be like, that didn't know who Boots was. It'd be like, oh, okay, that's who that guy is. Because if Boots went out there and stopped Keith, which nobody's ever done, that's something, right?
Very impressive. Yeah.
But Boots isn't to Crawford what Benavidez is to Canelo. Benavidez is the clear boogeyman to Canelo, who's been just hanging around, beating the fuck out of people, and calling Canelo out every week. And then when Canelo doesn't respond, or Canelo acts like he doesn't exist, he just goes and beats somebody else up. And now he made it very clear, I'm going to fight Edgar fucking Berlanga. And Edgar, dude, can I just get back to that? Edgar Berlanga is worse than Jaime Munguia.
Oh,
he's not.
They're about the same.
No, I think Jaime Munguia fights Berlanga and beats the brakes off him.
That should have been the next fight.
It should have been. They should have fought as an eliminator to fight Canelo if Canelo's going to do this dumb shit.
Yeah.
But I think Munguia is very offensive minded. Berlanga is also very offensive minded. The problem with Berlanga is there is zero defense and zero technique in setting up those power shots.
Yeah. And I'm not sure he has a chin.
No, and once we get past those first couple rounds, his opponents figure him out. Right? They may still lose, but there's not like an altering of Berlanga's strategy to try to get somebody out there. He doesn't stop anybody late because he doesn't know how. He's a front runner. I think Munguia eventually will walk him down and beat him. Munguia's at least been in wars. The Revchenko, for instance. That was a fucking war. Berlanga doesn't know what that shit looked like. Berlanga's going to get... If Canelo doesn't stop Berlanga, we got to throw up another flag. We got to throw a red flag. Man, ain't stopping nobody.
He's stopping Berlanga within 4.
Dog, he couldn't stop John Ryder.
There's a different level of
Munguia
toughness there.
Munguia did, though.
You know, it's shitty because Amanda Serrano, who's of course like a great Puerto Rican champion, was hyped for Berlanga, but her entire message was get that bag,
That's
feed
it.
your family. Like there was no type of hey, you're gonna win, buddy. Like Puerto Rico is gonna upset Mexico.
Nah,
Like
man,
she
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 know she. And the worst part about all of this is, and I know it's not. We're looking at apples and oranges. You gonna come to Vegas and do this down the street from the Sphere?
my only assumption is that MSG, who owns the Sphere, didn't want to counter an event, especially the first sporting event in their own building with a fight card in Madison Square Garden.
Dog, pick another date. You skip Mexican Independence Day multiple times.
Yeah.
Pick the week after. Pick 2 weeks after. The same night? Like, because Dana's petty,
They
right?
could have went Labor Day.
They could have, but we know Dana's petty. We know Dana's petty. And Dana fucking hates boxing. He hates the politics of boxing. He likes the sport, he hates the politics.
Yes. Dana would love to get into boxing.
Of course. The moment that he hears, oh, they're going to do a Canelo fight up the street, one, he laughs, even though he shouldn't, because Canelo still sells pay-per-views.
He's going to sell more fan-wise as well.
Yeah, but what he's already stacking this card. Like, get on the bat phone and call Connor. Like, he's going to do everything in his power to make this Canelo fight look like shit.
Yeah.
Because the Sphere is being advertised as not the fight card is whatever it is going to be great, but it's about the Sphere. The Sphere is the main attraction that night. Like any casual who comes to Vegas and can afford the ticket, even though we have no idea what the tickets are going to cost that night, is coming to experience a once in a lifetime event at the Sphere. Right?
That's Canelo fans are coming for Canelo.
Yeah, the Canelo fans are coming for Canelo, but Canelo can't. I'm not blaming Canelo for this. The Zone, Golden Boy, they can't price those tickets out. They got to make sure that people that want to see Canelo can afford it. Yeah. Right? We ain't doing no 10 grand ringside seats. Right? They're going to be comping tickets at T-Mobile that night. I promise you that. They are not putting 18,000 people in that building for Canelo. That paid.
Maybe. He's still an attraction.
He is, but look, you were there when Floyd fought Berto.
Yeah.
Nobody was there. That shit was, they gave away a lot of tickets. Now, granted, Canelo has a cult following, a Mexican following that's going to follow him no matter what he does. Yep. But I still think that accounts to like 10 to 12,000 tickets. After that, you got to get a few casual fans in the door. And you'll get a few. But if I had to choose that night between the Sphere, UFC, and God forbid they end up putting Conor in that card.
There's going to be a bunch of Irish people going this way, a bunch of Mexican people going that way.
But
are you going to put a non-Mexican main event on Noche's UFC?
Fuck yeah, they are. This is the UFC we're talking about. Let's keep this a buck. There is no chance Alexa Grasso headlines that card.
No, I've seen what they've done for Black History Month. So yes,
on,
you
man.
have no attachment to
Look, I said it in the
Mexican
group chat.
Fighter there.
I'm keeping it honest. They might give away fucking tacos to white people on that night and call it Mexican Independence Day. Like the UFC is holding a Mexican Independence Day card called UFC Noche, sponsored by Riyadh. Like, what are we doing? Not sponsored by Corona, Tecate, Modelo, right? Not sponsored by anything Mexican, sponsored by the Saudis. And the main event is probably going to be Topuria versus Holloway.
Ain't nothing about this. Yeah. None about this just screams Mexico.
No, the undercard will have a few Mexicans, right? We know Raul Rosas is going to be on the card.
Yeah.
There's been talk that Brandon Moreno might end up on this card. There's a few others that I've seen, but this is not like, as much as Dana keeps saying it's a celebration of Mexicans, it's not. You're just using the date. Like, I'm not here defending the UFC, but ultimately,
he just petty and wanted to take it from Canelo.
Yeah. Ultimately, staging a fight at like the ESPN coverage is going to be crazy for that week.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big week. I wouldn't be surprised if First Take comes down just to see, like, just for the spectacle of the event. And then they go on and do their other shit. Yeah. Like, this is different. Like, this event is different. I don't think Canelo can compete. I don't even know what they're going to advertise this fight. They've been doing a piss poor job of advertising Canelo fights. It hasn't mattered because Mexicans, they'll figure out when he's fighting anyway. And fight fans.
Is this an Amazon fight, though?
It's an Amazon card.
Okay.
Yeah. Which Amazon, they just got the NBA rights deal. Like,
maybe.
Well, yeah, TNT is clearly going to sue them. So we got a year to figure this out.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley's got another year to figure out what the fuck he's doing.
Charles is halfway in, halfway out. He's like,
Yeah,
yo, you tell me if I need to get a new golf bag. Stop playing.
Because that man ain't tripping. You tell me he ain't working no more. Charles like, cool, I got money. I'm going golfing. If you tell him to work, he likes working with those guys. Nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see how Amazon markets this fight and what they do to get outside of the boxing circle, because Canelo's an attraction. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But all that to say, fucking fed up with Canelo. Stop selling me on the idea like he's just great, like you'll fight anybody. No, you won't. You're a liar. You're like, just stop saying that.
He has fought a lot of somebodies, just not recently.
Has. Yeah, he's
bought himself some time.
He's on the back nine, man. Like he knows it. His team knows it. Just say it. Just say it. I'm trying to get the bag. Fuck you guys. Like, just say it.
He's not there yet to admitting that.
Yo, like, real question. Real question. If Artur Beterbiev were to beat Dmitry Bivol, is there any
goes up tomorrow?
You think so?
And he jumps David Benavidez.
You think if actually, let me rephrase that. If Beterbiev destroys Bivol, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Bivol's really fucking good. There's a high chance that Bivol beats him. But let's just say Beterbiev
gets a guy with 100% knockout.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's just say Beterbiev just wipes the canvas with Bivol. I don't know. Like, it sounds good, but I think somebody is like, you didn't fight, but you gonna fight that motherfucker who beat the guy who beat you, and you're older now.
I would say he's older too, but I would say, yeah, I want to fight that guy because I believe in my jaw and I've been in firefights. It's the guy who outclasses me and runs around that I clearly have problems with. So yeah, give me the guy who's going to stand there in quicksand and we gonna thump. And we gonna figure this out.
I think Canelo gets stopped against Beterbiev.
Small compared to Beterbiev.
Yeah, he is. That's my thing.
Beterbiev was fighting and barely lost to the current undisputed heavyweight champion in the world. And Beterbiev was this close to beating him. What? No, that guy's ginormous. It makes no sense.
If Canelo was the Canelo of old, where he would move his legs, he could beat Beterbiev. This version of Canelo, standing in the pocket, trying to use the upper body movement, like we just saw what Beterbiev did to Callum Smith. He wiped his ass out.
Yeah.
And they were fighting at light heavy. Canelo couldn't get rid of Callum at 68. I don't give Canelo a shot in hell to beat him at 75. But alas, here we are. I mean, that might be the end of Canelo. I want something to happen so we can end this bullshit. I'm sick of Canelo taking bullshit fights. If he beats Berlanga, he has to fight Terrence Crawford. He has to.
Yeah.
He could fight light heavy. I mean, if whatever happens there, he could fight one of those guys. But it's the Crawford fight. Like, you willing to fight anybody else is small. You can't be scared of Bud. He fought at 47 in his last fight. It's 21 pounds beneath. Fight
that
him.
Guy's killer.
He is. But
I'd rather fight Beterbiev.
I don't know, man. Look, I think Crawford, when he fights, it's the reason why he's not the number one pound for pound fighter in the world right now. It's because he's just not active. Like Usyk just beat Fury. It's the reason why, right? And he went to heavyweight and did it. Like he beat a giant.
Yeah.
But when Crawford fights, he made it very clear, like, I don't think anybody can beat this guy. Yep. Right? However, I give Canelo the size advantage against Crawford. At the very least. Canelo has no advantage against Artur Beterbiev. None.
No. Speed?
Canelo ain't even fast anymore. He doesn't even throw combinations. Yeah, so it's like tough. I can't give him any advantage over Beterbiev. The only advantage he has over Bud is speed. That's it.
Size.
I'm sorry, size. Not speed, not power.
No,
maybe chin. Maybe.
Bud's been wobbled a bit.
Maybe his chin. Defensively, Bud's proven to be pretty good defensively.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know, man. It's too much. I'm tired of talking about Canelo. Clearly, he annoys me. I was trying, if you follow the journey of this podcast, when this podcast first started, I said Canelo was overrated. I said Gennady was going to beat him. When Canelo in the second fight stood in the middle of that ring and fought him, I gave Canelo all the respect. I said, shit, I didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah. Then Canelo went through super middle. I was like, man, this guy's on the verge of being like an all-time great. It meaning like cracking the top 10 with all the things that he's doing. Then he lost to Bivol, and I was like, well, at least he dared to be great. Then these next 5 fights happen. It's like, man, fuck Canelo. Like that's the trajectory of this guy. It all comes back full circle. He's back to being overrated for me. I've had it with Canelo. I'm done.
Damn shame. Man, gotta continue. How long do you have to dare to be great? Forever?
No, you don't have to dare to be great forever. I think you just have to be honest with yourself. When you say you're the best and you're the champ, that means you need to defend the title against all comers. Once we get to the stage where you're just cherry picking, you need to make it clear that you're cherry picking. Just fucking cough up the titles. Stop holding shit up. You don't need them. You make the same money with it without them.
Yeah, you've done it. It's already on the resume.
You did it. Like Usyk fighting for greatness. Now that he got it, he was like, hey, IBF, you can have that one. I already did what I needed to do. Made it very clear. Cool. Terrence Crawford got all the titles. He was like, I'm good. Canelo's hoarding these titles for and holding up a division for no fucking reason and giving a bunch of unwarranted people shots at the crown when the real boogeyman is standing right in front of him. He's like, and he's looking around him like, who's the guy in the back of the line?
Yeah.
I'll take him. What about me? I'm standing right in front of you. Not you. You're not ready.
You
but that guy who he has never fought anybody, I'll fight him next. Like that's not daring to get great. It's defending your throne at a certain point.
Berlanga has never fought on a pay-per-view, and he's never headlined a fight outside of the small room at MSG.
It's trash, man. It's trash. I'm glad Berlanga's getting paid. I would never tell him to not take that fight. I feel bad for like Caleb Plant in this situation because I wanted Caleb Plant to fight Berlanga, but they wouldn't do that because Caleb would beat the shit out of it.
To fight one person and one person.
That it'll never happen. Jamal Charlo.
I don't know what Charlo's doing, but it has happened. He slapped him in broad daylight.
Yeah.
If he lets that slide, I'm more upset at him than you are at Canelo. If he just lets that slide before it's all said and done.
I honestly think that the Charlo brothers have issues that stretch beyond getting into a boxing ring.
Sure.
And it's
I don't think they're new issues.
No, they're not new. I just think that they've bubbled to the surface now that they've both have had trouble outside the ring. Jamal's lost again. Jamal's just had issues.
Yeah.
I think they're both looking at their careers now and how much money they have and like, probably not worth it to fight. I wouldn't be surprised if neither of them fight again.
It's crazy because they both have decent paydays left on the table.
They do. They do. I just think mentally, when it's a problem with boxing, but it's not a problem that I'm going to argue about. Like the UFC will say, they pay them too much and they do shit like this. No, get your money. You're putting your life on the line. But it is the problem when you've made enough money, you ain't got to do this shit anymore. And for some people, like in the UFC, like a Dustin Poirier, for instance, they still have that itch they want to scratch. Like, I want to go fight. Right? Because you haven't been paid that much money where you go, like even though Dustin's been paid to fight Connor's been paid so much money that he's been like, I don't do this shit. Yeah. Right? I'll do it if I feel like it. But when you're like troubled souls like the Charlo brothers are, and got issues like alcohol issues, mental issues, and all this shit. And as you get older, you start looking at your kids, you look at your house, you look at your family, and then you look at your record, and then you're like, I'm clearly not the same guy I was before. Do I want to go in there and get beat up? Like, even if you believe you can win, you know there's a chance you'll lose because you've already lost. Yeah. And you know how embarrassing it would be for Jamal Charlo to get beat up by Caleb Plant? Because Caleb Plant still won it. He wants smoke. I
don't think Big Charlo's lost. So he should believe. But no, Caleb Plant beats the hell out of him right now.
Yeah, this is why I think Charlo, his team, Al Heyman, they're just like, maybe you should just retire undefeated.
When you look at it, though, you beat Plant. Not saying he can, but people have beaten Plant. Yes. And you got to avenge your honor. So it's a double whammy. But if you do, clearly Canelo doesn't want to fight anyone else. No. So it's a good chance if you fought Plant November, December, you could be the guy in May.
You could.
For Canelo. And that's 2 really good paydays that you wouldn't have if you retired now.
Here's my counter.
And little Charlo's, same thing. You have the Bud fight right there if you want it. And that's a pretty good payday.
Here's the counter to the Jamal thing. You were already offered the fight. You didn't take it. So it's not about the fight or the bag. It's about whatever's going on in Jamal Charlo's head that's preventing him from doing this. And as he gets older, it's really hard. Like, Sean Porter, who's a friend of both of ours, been on the podcast. Sean made it very clear. It's like, it ain't about the fight. It's about fucking going to the gym every day.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that shit anymore. It's like when you get older and it's the reason why like athletes, boxers, when they're done, they just get fat for the most part. There very few of them stay in shape. Yep. They're tired of cutting weight. They're tired of watching what they eat. They're tired of going to the gym every day. And they're just like, fuck it. I think Jamal is at that place in his life where he's like, I like the idea of like, I can eat what I want and do what I want. I can smoke all the weed I want. I can drink as much as I want. But when I got to train 12 weeks of this shit, nah, I'm good.
Not worth it. That's fair. That's a fair point. That's a lot of millions to leave on the table just because you want to fucking smoke some weed and eat a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Eat some Whataburger. Whataburger ain't that good.
But when you got a bunch of money, that's what I'm saying. They've been overpaid for some of these fights. When you have millions in the bank, I would assume, and you probably got a financial advisors, you made some decent real estate investments, your little portfolio's okay, you kind of don't need this shit anymore. Sir, right?
If I have hundreds in the bank and someone offered me 500 more, like, you know what? I got to listen. And that's not even millions. When millions are right here, like, it's not like it's far. You don't got to win 3 fights. It's like if you come back tomorrow and you have now a baseline, maybe you're not going to get 10 mil, but you can get 5, 6. I don't think there's income state. Like, there's no state tax in Texas. 5, 6 right here.
Because I agree. I'm not.
I don't know what else they do in life. Granted, the portfolio of the real estate grows, blah, blah. It takes a long time to stretch that to the millions you would make in that one fight.
Yeah, it's nothing. Like, the reality of the situation is nothing.
They had their window. They made their money. It is closed.
They are, as a duo, more so Jamal than Jamel. They got demons that they're fighting that are bigger than any opponent in the ring. Like I said, this fight was offered to Jamal, and it went to Jamel because Jamal couldn't get up to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've all been in the gym before and we all want to get in shape, and we get on that treadmill. We're like, we're going to do this shit. When we get to that one mark, we're like, it ain't fucking worth it. Let me get off this treadmill. Like, I don't feel like doing this shit anymore. Yep. We've all had them days where we don't feel like going to the gym. Imagine having to do this shit for 12 weeks straight. 12 weeks to prepare for a camp, eating food. Like, at a certain point, it ain't about the money. It's about how I feel. And I don't feel like doing this anymore. I ain't hungry like that no more. I'm not. The idea of beating Canelo is a fleeting thought. Sounded good 5 years ago, I would have jumped the opportunity. But now that I'm older and I got all this other shit going on in my head.
Yeah, that's some shit. I guess so.
It sucks, but
it's not for us to understand, I guess. Because if you tell anyone who's like a normal ass person, like, yo, you could possibly get 5 mil for 8 to 12 weeks of dedication.
Yep.
You'll just be like, it's 12 weeks, it's 5 mil. But not when you've already made 5 mil and then made 5. And then it's just like, how many times?
Yes.
How many more times do I need 5 mil? Like,
I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy what it does to me. I don't enjoy what it does to my family. I don't enjoy me and my estranged. Like, their relationship sucks. They've made it very clear that their relationship isn't great. Boxing was something that they loved, and I think they've fallen out of love with boxing. I truly do.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just a job. And obviously it's not leaning towards success for them with that mentality. So that makes sense. It's not just a job for one Jake Paul, who, according to, several sanctioning bodies, could possibly fight for a title in the near future. We just saw him this past weekend beat, I guess impressively, Mike Perry. He did what he had to do. He stays in shape. I use that loosely. I'm not a fan of 200 plus pound Jake Paul. Like, heavyweight Jake Paul is not the Jake Paul even from the Fury fight.
No.
It looks like it's affecting his cardio. He looks a little more out of shape than he's ever been. The physique don't look the same because he doesn't have to cut the same. And he's beating people who aren't great. But I think, especially to a guy who's so new to the sport, this is going to hurt him more than it helps him because he just doesn't look in great shape. Like, the cardio wasn't there against the guy who's not a boxer and wasn't pressuring him. He's doing all the pressuring and getting gassed. Imagine when he's moving backwards. Then he's on the back foot and he has to be defensive. Nah, like, this is probably the least impressive Jake Paul fight I've seen. And he's not going to lose to Tyson, but anything that comes after that, again, building negative habits. And I'm not sure you can turn that around.
Yeah, like it's Jake Paul beating Mike Perry. Like I understood why he took the fight. I understood why it was Mike Perry. The the ignorance of MMA media, those that say Mike Perry had a chance. I laughed when people kept saying, "Oh, he's got a chance, man. He's tough." I'm like, the motherfucker don't know. He don't know how to put his hands up. Have y'all ever watched bare knuckle or him in the UFC? He's not a defensive minded, like toughness doesn't matter. It doesn't because the head
fans.
Yeah, but the head trauma that you're about to receive from a boxer with technique, no matter how high of a degree that technique is, a simple thing like a jab, getting hit with the stick like multiple times in a fight changes everything. Mike Perry never had a shot in hell. And I said that from the beginning. I watched, look, man, I'm cool with Ariel. But Ariel kept saying it. I think this is going to go distance. No, the fuck it's not. Like, these people that say they know boxing, you don't know shit. Listen, we've been wrong about predictions and shit all the time. Like,
100%.
it happens. Anything happens in a fight. But if you looked at Mike Perry and you said that guy who was getting beat up in the UFC, who was good at bare knuckle, beating up Luke Rockhold, beating up Eddie Alvarez, but if you look at the style of fight that he's fighting, which is just winging punches and hoping for the best, with no defense posture, nothing. Doesn't dip punches, sway, parry, nothing. Keeps his chin straight up, feet firmly planted on the floor, bites down the mouth guard and swings. A dude that just has a jab and a little bit of defense is going to fucking wipe the mat with you. And that's what Jake did. Like, Mike had no idea what to do with the jab.
No.
And then Jake hit him to the body, and he was like, what is this? I've never been hit to the body in my life. He spent his whole life fighting MMA where it's kicks to the head, takedowns, punches to the head, bare knuckle. Nobody ever hits anybody in the body. Jake was going to the body. Mike had no idea what to do. So the win wasn't impressive. It was a stay busy fight. I agree with your point. Jake doesn't look the same at like 200, whatever the fuck he weighed that night, 220 by the time he got in the ring that night.
Maybe.
He didn't look great. And I think we're at a crossroads with Drake. Drake.
Also with Drake. Yeah.
we had a crossroads with that guy too. But we're at a crossroads with Jake in the sense that at the beginning of the year, you were fighting journeymen, saying that you wanted to work your way up. Andre August, Ryan Borland, you beat him up and knocked him out in the first round. Then this unspeakable opportunity to fight Mike Tyson came along. You were like, can't pass this up.
Yep.
When I interviewed Jake, he was like, hey, after I beat Tyson, I'm going to go back and chase a world title. All right, cool. You just fought Mike Perry and you're getting ready to fight Mike Tyson, which means you spent your calendar year fighting a journeyman, a bare knuckle fighter, and a 58-year-old. You're not going to get a title fight immediately in 2025. It's probably not going to happen. It could, because sanctioned bodies don't give a fuck. But beating Mike Tyson is not going to prize the WBC. Is like, hey, man, you want to go fight for the WBC? Probably not. So you're going to have to take another fight. You have to make a decision at some point whether you are going to continue doing these circus fights for the money or you're going to actually really bite down and fight real fighters. And
he's caught in the middle because it's a shit ton of money.
The Mike Perry fight was a stay busy fight, which is understandable, but it opened up Pandora's box where it was like, hey, this didn't look great. Stock's diminishing. You're going to follow this up by fighting Mike Tyson? Ew, gross. Nobody wants to see that. Then, like, people like Uriah Hall, they're calling you out. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who had an awful fight that night. Shout out to Uriah Hall getting all tough on Twitter, not tough in the ring. Yeah. I hate when people, this is a quick sidebar. I hate when people who are in the sport, who get mad at people's like, why don't you get in here and fight then? That ain't my fucking job. My job is to talk about you fighting. Your job is to fight, and you suck at it. So how about that? Like, I never understood that. You didn't get in here and fight. That ain't my job. That's not what I get paid to do.
Yeah. They all think they could do our job.
They all think, but you know what they do? It's the same thing when they go home. Did you like that movie? No, they couldn't act. Why don't you go up there and act then? We don't do that shit. Only in sports do people go, yo, why don't you come do this shit? It don't work the same. It's ridiculous. So I think all I'm trying to say is, like, Jake at some point has to fight a real fighter, a real opponent. And it doesn't even have to be like a number 1 guy, number 5 guy, but he was on the right trajectory. Fighting Ryan Borland, it helps.
Yeah.
But
that bag was just too much. And
You
then when
can't pass up the Tyson bag. You
yeah, and then
can't.
when it goes, you can't really like fight a journeyman like on pay-per-view on the zone, right? Like the other fights weren't pay-per-view. He was just like,
Right.
I'm gonna knock this guy out in a round. It was like on that date, we kind of still have to sell. They did a solid by moving it to Tampa,
Right.
but DAZN was kind of like, all right, like then come and fight here and give us some money because we weren't gonna get shit from this Netflix deal. So do us a solid. And he's like, all right. Mike Perry's been the sub for like two of the fights now, the alternate.
Right.
So they're like, this guy will sell, I guess. And then Jake's like, all right. And then next thing you know, it comes down to they know now Jake has a price. Jake has a goal that he's very serious about, but Jake also has a price. So if you want him to deviate from that goal, it's not going to take that much.
No, it's not. It's not. So in fairness, like he's gonna fight Tyson. All right. Like we know what it was. I'm not a fan of the fight. I get why it's happening. People still believe that Mike, after that performance, there are people like, oh, Mike Tyson's gonna kill Jake Paul after that performance. Okay.
Yep.
Like, I get it. But after that, man, if you're gonna fight, if you believe you're gonna be a world champion, you're gonna have to ditch this. You can't fight another Mike Perry. You can't fight a Uriah Hall. You can't fight a Chavez Jr. You got to fight real fighters. You have to fight ranked opponents. Wait, you can fight anybody that's ranked 15 in any sanctioned body. I'm sure they got a trash record, or a decent record, but you got to work your way up. But I wasn't impressed. I was like, this is cool. Like, I expected him to do this. There was nothing I was like, oh, he dug deep to get this win. Nah, man, Mike Perry sucks.
Not at all. Yeah. I would say the most shocking thing of the night was a fight
God.
that was dominated by Ashton H2O Silv. But the broadcast constantly like, oh, that left hand's down a little bit too much. Tyron Woodley.
Yep.
And Tyron's like, or his right hand, I think. He's like, that right hand's low. He's like, I did that same shit against Jake. I know. That right hand's low. That right. And then next thing you know, it was like 6th round. And Silv got hit with the one, got stumbled. It was a 2-piece and a soda to follow up. And his night was over.
Man,
and
wow. Yeah.
Ruined selfishly a prospect versus prospect fight I really wanted to see on that Tyson card because him versus Schofield would have been amazing. Now it's like he got to get that get back.
This is tough, man, because he's winning every second of that fight.
Yep.
Every second of that fight against Body, he's winning, right? And then he gets caught. And it's not like he gets caught and it's like, oh, flash knockdown. He's now a knockout of the year candidate.
Yeah, on the wrong end.
Probably the front runner.
On the wrong end of that. Yeah,
like you ended up you went from dominating a fight and ending up on the Tyson fight against Floyd Schofield in the biggest opportunity possible to now a meme. You've become a meme.
Yeah.
Like
on his little bio, they put ESPN ringside prospect of the year. Because I gave him prospect of the year last year.
The kid looked really good, man. But there is a issue. He's 20. And this is what concerns me the most.
In MMA, we would have said, fuck it. This happens. He'll be fine. Yeah.
But not in boxing.
No.
And the reason why is when you're 20 in boxing and you're on the rise, you're a young prospect, you kind of think you're unbeatable, right? Everybody that's young never thinks they're going to lose. MMA, you get tapped out in the gym every weekend.
Yeah.
Right. Like it just happens. Like you can't, Israel Adesanya, like you get tapped. It just happens. You get tapped by your sparring partners. You lose wars in sparring. In your mind, the possibility of losing is always there. But when you're 20, you're like, fuck that. I'm going to beat everybody. And he fought Body like a 20-year-old kid that was playing with his food.
Yep.
Right. It fell asleep at the wheel, got caught. Now his ego's crushed. Now this is where I'm concerned with Ashton Sylvie. Where do you go from here? Because at 20, you pay a lot more attention to the internet.
Yeah.
At 20, you are getting destroyed. People who never knew who you were know who you are now because of that video.
Not for a good reason.
And for all the wrong reasons. It don't matter if you were winning every second of that fight. You became a knockout year on the wrong end of it. I don't know if your ego can recover. I don't know if he'll be gun shy in his next fight because of this. Because he was so ahead that all he had to do was be defensively responsible when he couldn't do it.
Yep.
And Body, 30 years old, just waited, almost fucking Leon Edwards him, getting dominated and just head kick bang.
Dead.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know, Jake Paul. It sucks. Like I had just tweeted, I was like, man, say what you want about Jake, but picking up this kid was a good idea. And then he got wiped out 2 rounds later. I was like, whoops, never mind, because I don't know if he can bounce back from this.
Leave that one in drafts.
It was already out. It was already out in the ethos. I'm not going to delete it. I would say never mind, because I don't know if you can recover from that, because he's a kid that's built on finesse, skill, not dog fights, right? Young Mexican fighters, young fighters who have dog in them, like Sean Porter had like dog, they fight dog fights at a very young age. And you can even put Devin Haney on this boat with Ashton Sylvie. Like I've seen Devin in dog fights in the gym, but a lot of people didn't think he had dog in him in the ring because of the way he fought.
Yeah.
Right. But Devin proved himself over years. And against Ryan Garcia, say what you want, he ain't give up. Right.
Nah, he went out on the shield,
but he kept going.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Sylvie was going to keep going, but I don't know if the fight's been taken out of him now by that knockout. I hope not. But that's the danger of a 20-year-old prospect getting obliterated, not knocked out, not stopped, not losing decision, fucking demolished.
The Connor's best line, the chin never recovers.
It doesn't.
And when it's tapped like that at 20, it's tough. Because it's a lot more years ahead of you of getting hit.
Yeah. Tough.
We'll see. Hopefully kid bounce back, though. Again, in MMA, people like, whatever.
No, you just come back.
Connor slumped Dustin Poirier around the same age.
Yep.
Now, no one gets Poirier out of here.
No, man.
Like, unless you submit him on some weird.
Even then, like, there's dog in him, because you go through all those wars in the gym and you're like, all right, I've been tapped, I've been submitted. I don't fuck this guy, right? Like I know the threat of losing exists. Young boxers, they don't understand the threat of losing does not exist for some of them. It just doesn't until it happens.
Yeah.
Right. And then you wake up. Then you wake up and you're like, wait, what happened? Because like the look on Sylvie's face when he finally woke up and was sitting on the stool, because he was out for a minute. When he finally looked around, it was like, Body's hugging him and he's like talking to him. And I was like, man, just get this kid out of the ring. Because even Adrian Broner, when he got beat up on Marcos Maidana, Broner, he went and sulked in the back, but he didn't get knocked out. He didn't wake up the next day.
Yeah.
He didn't wake up, I'm Batman. Like, he didn't have one of those moments. That's what H2O had. Where are you?
Yo, he had no clue. No clue. I was like, oh, my God.
That was brutal.
It looked like they may have had to bring in the stretcher for him, like just out of precaution. Like it looked like when Pacquiao went down.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. And for everything it's worth, Pacquiao was really good after that, won more world titles. He was never the same Pacquiao.
No.
In terms of like aggressiveness.
No, he wasn't. He was already on his way out, like heading into that fight. But again, Pacquiao's like in his 30s when that happened. And I was like, all right, well, fuck it.
It's like, all right, you just get caught.
Yeah, shit happens. Good back and forth. Then I got caught.
Yeah, that
Somebody was dominating that fight. He was making it look easy. It was like, the end is near. It looked like the end is near. If he just puts another combination together, the ref be like, hey, man, you have no chance. Nope. Body killed him.
And damn, knockout of the year. We'll talk about that on the Patreon. Like some of our favorite moments. Like that's up there. That's crazy. Before we get out of here, UFC 304 this weekend across the pond. Pretty good card. Like Meatball Molly's on the undercard. It's the UK, but they stacked it with good European fighters and people who have promise and everything. Even super early in this card is names that we'll probably know 5 years from now. Tons of fights on the early prelims. It's weird to me that this card is normal time. And, people are fighting at 5 a.m. like we mentioned last week. Like, what? Makes no damn sense to fight at 4 or 5 a.m. None at all. We'll see how much that plays a part in this. But going through the main card, Arnold Allen versus Giga to open up the main card. Banger of a fight.
That is Arnold Allen. So the last time he fought in the UK. So a lot of these guys, You guys will see it. We're doing a story on the rise of British MMA for ESPN. And a lot of these guys and girls, Patty, Molly, Tom, all fought at the UFC Fight Night London card, which was the first fight card that happened in London after COVID. And Aspinall headlined against Volkov. Patty Patty and Molly hit that spinning back elbow. There was like 9 bonuses given out that night. The place was nuts. And it was like a true turning point for British MMA because it was like, oh shit, they got a heavyweight, they got Meatball Molly's a star, Patty Pimblett, who are like these 2 rowdy ass kids from fucking England and Liverpool that just don't give a fuck. Like Arnold Allen was on that card as well, and Muhammad Makayev I think opened that card. We'll talk about him in a second. It's fucked up how they did Muhammad Makayev. But all these people are returning to this card, and Arnold Allen on that card, he got a bonus. Him and Dan Hooker went to war.
Yeah.
And Arnold Allen looked like a dude that was going to threaten for a title. Then he ran into fucking Max Holloway. Like, and everybody thought, you got to remember, this is after Max loses to Volkanovski. And Arnold Allen looked like, oh man, he's just going to use Max as a stepping stone to get a title opportunity. Max beat the brakes off that man that night.
Max has done this to a lot of people.
He is. He really does. And I think the Chikadze fight against Arnold Allen, because Chikadze is a kickboxer, these two are about to throw hands. This is a potential fight of the night contender. This is a really fucking good fight.
I think it is. Like, to me, this is one of the fights I'm looking forward to most, if not the most. You know, it's really good matchmaking is what it is. It's perfect matchmaking for where they both are right now. That being said, I'm taking Arnold Allen.
Yeah, like, I'm taking Arnold Allen as well.
The crowd is going to play a part in this. And then Christian Leroy Duncan, Gregory Rodriguez.
This is the fight that ended up on this card and the main card because they bumped Muhammad Makayev versus Manel Kape down, which is crazy to me. Because let's just address this. Manel Kape and Muhammad Makayev, basically it's a title eliminator for the flyweight title because Pantoja's beaten everybody else in that division, right?
Yeah.
Moreno's been out. Steve Erceg, who's fighting now at 305, he just beat Steve Erceg. Here, Kai Kara France, all those guys. Like, this is the winner of this fight, probably is going to fight Pantoja next. It was on the main card to begin with. Muhammad Makayev, born in Russia, raised in the UK, he's a UK fighter.
He's only 23.
And he gets bumped all the way down to the early prelims. Not even the main fight in the early prelims. They gave that to Alban Elliott, who was another kid on the rise. He's the second to last fight on the early prelims, like on ESPN Plus and Fight Pass.
And it's not like he's boring. He subbed 3 of his last 4 opponents.
Well, so Makayev was on Sirius with Dean Thomas and I think Anthony Smith this week, and or maybe it was Alan Joban. And Muhammad basically said, my contract's up, and I don't think they like how I fight. So that's why he thinks he got bumped down. As for Manel Kape, he's like, what did I do? Right?
Do shit.
and these two, and I think this is going to be a good fight. Kape and Makayev just got into it in Manchester. They just had a fight in the goddamn hotel lobby. This is crazy. This fight got bumped all the way down here. So instead, we're getting Christopher Leroy Duncan and Gregory Rodriguez, which whatever. Look, not every British fighter is going to win, but I'm still going to pick Christian Leroy Duncan because I feel like they're putting him out on here to break out. Gregory Rodriguez is good. Like, if there was anybody from the UK aside from King Green who has a really good chance of winning, it's probably Gregory Rodriguez. But I just think that the Brits are gonna really power a lot of their guys to wins. I really do.
No, I agree. And then I might, no, I'm not taking all the British people. Bobby Green versus Patty Pimblett. Patty's wrapped some people up in some shit and gotten wins, and that's incredible. It stops here. Bobby's hands are no joke.
This is tough, man.
Bobby ain't hitting the ground. If he does, it's over. And Patty's subbing his ass. Bobby ain't hitting the ground.
That's my whole thing with this fight is who gets to use their discipline first. And all fights start standing. But in Bobby Green, like King Green, this man's changed his name legally. His legal name is now King Green.
King Green. Next time he's on this show, I got to call him King.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I call Prince Prince, but One Man King is
It's
crazy.
different. Yeah.
But the thing about Bobby Green is, even though he's fought like a million fights in MMA and he's been a long tenure fighter, he's ranked number 15 now, and he's older, those reflexes are still really fucking good. He
Yeah.
fights with his hands down. He's got great reflexes, great reactionary speed, great timing, really good pop. And he has a hard time. His difficult time is like with really good strikers or really good wrestlers. Like Islam Makhachev like ran him over. But
Yeah.
who doesn't Islam do this shit too?
Exactly. And that was short notice. There's a bunch of shit.
Yeah, Jalen Turner almost murdered that man. But Jalen Turner's like 10 feet tall, like a fucking tree with power. But Patty doesn't present those same threats. So Patty has to get this fight to the canvas. Like he can't do what he did with Tony Ferguson. Mm-hmm. Like he's gonna have to wrestle him, get him to the mat. And once he does get him on the mat, I think he wins the fight. I just don't know if he can do it. I don't know. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna pick Paddy Pimblett because I think Bobby Green's going to make a mistake. He does this a lot. When he's on, he's hard to beat.
Yeah.
When he makes a mistake, boy, he makes a mistake in a fight. He'll overcommit on the right hand. He'll leave his hands down too long. And Patty's going to pressure him because he has to. So I think Patty finds a way to get this fight to the canvas and maybe wins like a split decision by grounding Green for a couple rounds. Bobby's going to have his moments, but I'm going to pick Patty to get the dub.
Give me Bobby to win this and not get booed by the crowd. It's hard to boo Bobby Green. I don't know if they're going to boo.
It's the UK, man. They don't give.
Yeah.
No, it's the UK, and it's like 3 a.m, right?
Oh, they're going to be drunk.
Like, I told you, Patty Pimblett told me, it's like, man, they're going to have to check them because they're going to be sneaking liquor and drugs everywhere. Like, good luck. In the middle of the night, too? It's going to be crazy.
Everyone's drunk in there. And then Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades.
I mean,
Aspinall's winning in my book, but Blades wrestling can make this real ugly for a real long time.
It can. So Tom Aspinall is the best heavyweight in the world right now, right? Because John Jones just isn't active. We haven't really seen him fight anybody. Cyril Gane doesn't count. Tom Aspinall is fast, has fucking great jiu-jitsu, ridiculous power, and size. He's got like all the tools to be the best fighter in the world. All of them. And he finishes everybody, right? Like he just finishes fools. Sergey Pavlovich was knocking everybody out, ran into Tom Aspinall, and he got dropped and killed in the first round. Curtis Blades, who does he lose to? Guys with knockout power.
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou. Like people that, like, not people that wrestle him, people that can punch him in the face.
Yep.
Tom Aspinall is stopping Curtis Blades probably in the first round. It's because
lost to Sergey Pavlovich.
Knocked him out.
Yep.
The guy who knocked him out. Curtis is good.
Derek Lewis knocked his ass out.
I think Curtis Blades is a nightmare matchup for John Jones. Because the wrestling is different. And John doesn't have the power to keep Curtis Blades off of him. John still wins that fight.
Yeah.
But it's ugly. Aspinall has the power to kill Curtis Blades before he gets inside and is able to wrestle. And Ngannou did that. Derek Lewis did that. Sergey Pavlovich did that. The other part of the equation is Tom is really fucking fast. He's the fastest heavyweight in MMA. He's really fucking fast. Really fast. So whether he catches him with an uppercut or he hits him. And have you ever noticed? Watch when Tom does the stare down before the fight starts. He always puts his arms around his opponent and it looks very friendly. He's finding his range. He's finding his range. Like he did it to Pavlovich. He's finding his range. Like sneaky y'all better stop falling for that shit, man. Like, and then plus this fucker's been dipping his hands in petrol, and he's got hands like bricks right now. Like he's hardening his bones. He keeps saying.
Yeah, that shit was crazy when I saw that story. I was like, "What? I've never heard of that happening." But okay.
Me either. And I don't even know if it works, but if in his head it does.
If he says it, it's true, I guess.
So the story here is like, how fast does he finish Curtis Blades? Nobody gets out of the second round with Aspinall. Let's start there. Nobody. How fast does he get Blades out of there? And then who does Aspinall call out? Does Aspinall go after John Jones?
John.
We know John is fighting Stipe.
Yeah.
We know that fight is happening. Or Do you say, I want to fight John Jones, but Alex Pereira, if you want a piece, come see me.
For an interim belt? I'm not sure, Alex. I mean, Alex is fucking crazy.
No. I don't think Alex would do it, right? There's two things that'll happen here. Alex doesn't want to fight for an interim title. He thinks he's above that, which he is.
He is.
But he's not above money. He's not above money. And if the UFC throws him a whole lot of money, like if Aspinall gets rid of Blades quickly, and Alex has already said, I'm trying to come back November, December, which will be either the Garden card or what it looks like Connor's targeting the December 12th card in Vegas.
Yeah.
Is it 12? I think it's 12. If Alex could be, they paid him enough money. If he wanted to be the co-main event against Aspinall for the interim title on the undercard of Stipe and John, and that's the winner gets fight, then you fight for the interim title.
The question is, what if Stipe gets hurt?
Well, we all know Stipe probably. I'm not entirely.
What if John is healthy? What if Stipe gets hurt? Who's the guy who slides into the picture?
Oh, it's Aspinall. It's Aspinall.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Aspinall. He's the interim champion. Like, what are we doing this for? Like, I get what you're saying, though.
That's getting tricky.
I get what you're saying. Like, the appeal of Alex versus John is obviously there. If I'm John, I'd rather fight Alex than Tom. If I'm John, and I'm being smart, about this. I haven't looked great in my last few fights. Yes, I know I'm the best, but I'm on that Canelo side of my career right now, where I'm like, got to take the easier matchup. When they offered me Cyril Gane, easy fight. I knew what I was going to do was going to snuff him out. Because if they offered me Curtis Blades, I'd be like, no thanks. I ain't fighting that guy.
Yeah.
It's tough. Alex is an easier fight for John. Tom presents too many problems for John because the grappling, and John may beat them both. I'm just talking about in terms of the things you got to worry. You got to worry about one thing with Alex Pereira. One.
Right hand.
If John gets inside, takes him down, fight's fucking over.
Yeah.
In no time. Like Curtis Blades may beat Alex Pereira. Right? Curtis, he wrestles him and,
Yeah. I mean, the only person I've seen make easy work of him is Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
And being able to stand and trade. First fight, Izzy won every round until he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Second fight, he knocks Pereira out. Like,
it's not easy.
No, because you're scared to death every second that you're in the ring. It's not easy when you're half running for your life, half trying to hit this man.
But John doesn't have the skills to do what Izzy did against Alex. John's way to stop him is much different. Tie him up, grapple him, take it to the canvas. Right? Like, that's his job. And dealing with Alex, who clearly would have to come up to heavyweight, another weight class. And John's going to be huge. John's already huge. John has already proven to have a really good chin and really good defense. That's an easier fight. Tom matches size with John Jones and is faster than him. And if John gets him on the mat, you're dealing with a guy who is a black belt in jiu-jitsu from the UK that finishes people with straight arm bars any way you want to finish. Like, it's just too much shit to worry about. If I'm John, I take Alex.
Yeah, John's a different beat. I would say training for Stipe, Tom, as good as he is, and he does have knockout power, he has traditional knockout power. Like, he's not just going to catch you with the fist of God and turn your fucking lights out. Like, you'll see it coming. Tom Aspinall. Like, he has, like...
No, he's got the hammer of Thor in there, man.
No, to me, it's more what Floyd said. Like, straight up and down, no special effects. Like, he is what Stipe was 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Nah.
I think, and that's a really big compliment, because Stipe, during that run, is the greatest heavyweight in UFC history.
Yes.
So I'm not sure Tom is even at that level. But as my comparison, it would be like training for Stipe 5 years ago, because Stipe had that same power, the combination, the quickness. He moving off the back foot, he catch you. Stipe showed a lot of that. He used some grappling against Francis, all this stuff. He had a lot of tools in the bag and a well-rounded heavyweight where we don't see that often. Either you have a ton of knockout power or you're just a wrestler, or like Stipe was great because he was really well-rounded. That to me is Tom Aspinall. But it's like, does he do anything better than John?
Yes, he strikes way better than John Jones. His punching is way better than
I
John
said that
Jones.
about a lot of people. I don't know. John Jones is a really fucking good striker when he wants to be. That distance, that length.
No, 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 no,
You can have a lot of skills. That length and
no,
the
no,
reach, you can't
no,
just make up reach
no,
sometimes.
no. John uses his striking to get his takedowns. He is not a knockout artist by any stretch of the imagination. He doesn't have
No.
fight altering power, right? He uses those oblique kicks to keep his opponent at bay. Tom, like the comparisons to Stipe, while they're flattering, Stipe never went on a run where he finished like his last 10 opponents inside of 6 minutes, right? They
Yeah.
didn't do it. Like this is like Aspinall, since he arrived at the UFC, obviously he hasn't lost. If you can count the Curtis Blades thing, because he blew his knee out 15
It
seconds.
doesn't count. Yeah.
But if you go down the list of everything that he's done, and dating back to 2016, the man hasn't the deepest he got into the fight was a minute into the second round against Andrei Arlovsky. Then he knocked him out too, right? So it was actually a rear naked choke submission. Alexander Volkov, who was tough as shit, got him out of there swiftly.
Yeah.
Power, technique. Aspinall is faster than John. He's faster than him, a lot faster than him. He may not be a better grappler because John is the most disciplined wrestler grappler we have ever seen. He finds ways to win. Aspinall is more dynamic than Stipe was. Stipe's really good. At his height, Stipe was really good. But at this age, if I'm John, I don't really want to deal with Aspinall. Like the straight up and down special effects things would have qualified if Aspinall didn't move like a welterweight in a 240-pound body. That's the issue. Like he's too fast. Like he finds range quickly, he closes distance quickly.
Pavlovich isn't a bad fighter, right? Pavlovich's not bad at all.
No, and he got wiped out.
The resume is Sergey Pavlovich, Marcin Tybura, Curtis Blades, Alexander Volkov, probably his toughest fight to date. Winning that impresses Sergey Spivak, Andrei Arlovsky, Jake Collier. Like, as great as that is, and it's 10 straight stoppages, and that's really fucking impressive, the resume is not even comparable to the Stipe resume when we go down the list. So to say Stipe didn't do that, like, yeah, but
he didn't. Like
the level of competition
I
is staggering.
I get what you're saying. Like I get what you're saying about Stipe. I'm not disagreeing. Tom's not on Stipe's level in terms of accomplishments yet. I'm saying Tom could get there, right? Stipe got beat by Stefan Struve. Like
that was a weird ass fight.
He didn't have his best night. Like Stipe, the heavyweight division is a baffling division because it doesn't take but one punch to change everything, right? Yeah. And regardless of your resume, the idea that you're finishing people not just by knockout, you're submitting heavyweights inside of a round is really impressive. Tom's not on Stipe's level yet. But if you told me who was the most complete heavyweight in the world right now, it's Tom Aspinall. Because I can't give it to John only because of his age and his lack of activity in the heavyweight division. The more John competes, which he's not going to do a lot of heavyweight, the more I would say John Jones. But I think Aspinall wipes the canvas with a lot of these guys. And I don't know who's going to stop him. If it ain't John, I don't know if there's any heavyweight in the world that's going to beat Tom Aspinall right now. I don't see it. I don't see it. Jalin Almeida can't strike, gets knocked out. Right? Like you go down the list, he's already beaten most of these guys. Derek Lewis ain't fucking beating him. Right? Like who's gonna beat him? So it's like Cyril Gane can't wrestle. Tom can wrestle. He has everything that you got to deal with. If John has to fight Alex, John knows what he's got to do against Alex. You got to fight Tom. It's like I got to deal with a whole bunch of different shit. Like I want to see what happens once Aspinall wins. Like who do you direct your attention towards? I would direct my attention towards John, but I could say Alex could get it too, only because by me saying that, it goes viral and everybody knows my name that didn't know my name before.
Sure.
Right now,
it's like Jake Paul calling out Alex Pereira.
Well, no, like Jake calling out Alex Pereira was goofy, right? Like we know that shit ain't going.
But I mean, he just called him out just for the sake of let me throw my name out there and use some clout.
We get it. But with Aspinall, like when Aspinall does it, it's like a legitimate threat, right? Like he calls you out, you be like, oh fuck, what this guy's the interim champion calling out both champs? Like, I'll take either of you fuckers on.
Yeah.
He needs to go ahead and do it. But if I'm John, I don't think John fights Aspinall. I think if John will retire before he fights Aspinall. I think John will fight Stipe. Here's a question for you. Who's got a better chance of making it to their fight, Stipe or Mike Tyson?
Oh fuck. Stipe. Stipe.
Are we sure?
Tyson 58 with a stomach ulcer.
Stipe ain't want to fight in 4 years, bro.
It took him 4 years to fucking recover from the Ngannou knockout. You get hit by Ngannou and tell me how fast you rushing back.
I'm just saying. I'm saying like
Dre. Tyson hasn't won a legitimate fight.
Oh, I know.
23 years.
But he's fighting Jake Paul.
It's 23 years.
All I'm saying
he's
is
fighting a guy who won on Saturday.
Here's the logic of why I'm asking this question.
No.
Like Tyson has heart issues, like an ulcer, and couldn't fight, right? But he's not going to get injured in training. If health is going to be an issue.
John got injured, not Stipe. Stipe was fine.
No. But I'm saying, if there was somebody who was going to get hurt and not make it to their fight,
it's Stipe. Yeah.
Right? Like, because the things you got to do to prepare for John Jones probably results in you pulling a hammy, tearing an ACL, 100%. Some dumb shit, because you're not active.
No.
Like, I don't even know if Stipe is like training.
I don't know. He's just in the firehouse. What? He's not training now. It's July. The fight's in November.
I'm just like, he's got to be doing something.
Yeah, yeah. Like fighting fires, tossing some weight around.
What's he doing? Sliding down the pole?
Yeah, just toss a little bit of weight around. I don't know. Cooking. It's a heavy weight. You don't got to cut weight.
It's just I think the correct answer is Steve. I do not know if Mike Tyson makes it to the fight. Yeah. But would I be surprised if Steve and Mike both didn't make it to the November fights?
No,
not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, it's when people are older, because they're not old, but in fighting years, they're old. Tyson is old.
Tyson is legitimately old. Yeah. Steve is old in fighting years.
Yeah. Steve is like our age, but we ain't fighting. So in fighting years, you don't want to do that. I barely want to get up off of the couch once I get home. He's trying to fight. Nah, bro, go play NCAA football. Play college football 25 like the rest of us and live out your fucking dreams that way. Like, don't get in the octagon. What are you doing?
It's crazy. He's getting the bag. He getting the bag, man.
Losing his damn mind. Take Ohio State to the chip and chill out. Enjoy yourself in Cleveland. This guy's trying to get in the octagon. Main event, Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad.
This is so tough for me. For this reason, I like Belal as a person. I like Belal. Like, his fighting style is not aesthetically pleasing. He's a great grappler who snuffs his opponent's weapons out and he puts them on their back. And then he just kind of works them over for 3 to 5 rounds. But there's this part about Belal that I like. I don't know if people saw the UFC Countdown where he got the family in from Palestine.
Yeah.
Like an advocate. And I was like, man, fuck. And I was like, how can you root against this dude? Right? In the face of this organization that is trotting Trump out there every fucking week. Like, Belal Muhammad is basically like, free Palestine. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Hard for me to root against that.
Yeah.
However, Leon Edwards is still underrated. And it's crazy. Right? Like, forget that he was losing to Kamaru Usman, who for 4.5 rounds. Forget that just for a second. Because he did win the fight. And Belal was like, it's a lucky shot. I don't care what you say. He set that shot up. And it worked. He was on his way to losing that fight. But in the rematch, kind of dog Kamaru.
Yeah.
Like, Leon looked really good. And then Colby had nothing for Leon Edwards that night. Colby looked stuck in the mud. He couldn't figure him out. Leon is one of the most technically adept strikers in the welterweight division, right? He's sound, doesn't get hit a lot unless he falls asleep in the wheel like he did against Nate Diaz, which is crazy. Great kicks, great counter punches. Not really a knockout artist, but he'll pick you apart. Good takedown defense. That's the key. If Belal can't get this fight to the canvas, he ain't winning. He's not going to outstrike Leon Edwards. When they fought the first time before the eye poked, Leon was kind of cruising in the first round.
Yeah.
Belal said he couldn't get out of first. He wasn't out of first gear. He was waiting for. Yeah, that's fine. You were losing. Then you got your eye poked.
Bilal's gotten better.
He's gotten a lot better. The one thing Bilal will have to do in this fight, he'll have to show Leon, I ain't the same dude you fought. And he's got to do it really quickly. Because if Leon slides into a groove where he's just kind of poking at you with a jab and then firing the leg kicks, and if he starts defending your takedowns, you are fucked. And Leon's a really good wrestler, which is crazy. Yeah. He doesn't really have to show it, but he took Kamaru down. Yeah. People forget that. Kamaru's winning every second of that fight, but there's a moment where Leon takes Kamaru down. We're all like, what the fuck? Because Kamaru at that point, he had 100% takedown defense.
Sure.
I know, the Colby fight.
Sure.
But technically he had 100% takedown defense, just like Max Holloway's never been knocked down, where I clearly saw just occasionally put him on his butt. But whatever. Bilal's got a lot of work to do over the course of 5 rounds to beat Leon Edwards. And I don't know if he can do it. So I'm going to pick Leon Edwards to win by decision, unless Belal gets frustrated and just runs into something. I just hate picking against Belal. He's earned this opportunity. He's waited forever for this opportunity. He didn't trash. I don't know how this man didn't trash talk Dana White. I'd have shit it all over him for not giving me my title fight. Oh, man.
So this week, he better show up and say it's about damn time.
Yeah, did you remember the name? That's what he needs to say. Y'all fucking forgot the name. You didn't call my name forever. But now these two have kind of bad blood, beefing in the elevator, calling each other pussies. I think Leon, headshot dead is becoming a thing now.
Yeah.
And the Leon, when I look at the camera shit, is a problem. It's like a tell, I'm gonna fuck you up. He did it against Kamaru, he did it against Belal in the elevator. Yeah, I'm picking Leon to win, man. I'm picking Leon to win. I like Belal better. I think Leon's he's really good. He's really good.
Bilal's had a great run. This reminds me of Tony Ferguson's run, where it was like, fam, you deserve the title fight, but I still really don't believe you after this run. It's wildly impressive. I can't take that away from you, but I still really don't believe in you, and that's okay. But you've earned the title shot.
Yep.
And Tony had that same type of run. So it's like, all right, cool. He ain't gonna fall off the cliff like Tony did, I don't think. But it's one of those where it's like, all right, man, let's get this out of the way, and what's next for Leon?
Yeah, and that's the fun part, right? At welterweight, Leon's, Islam Makhachev could move up, obviously. But the guy that's there is Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Yeah, it's just Shavkat.
And Ian Machado Gary's calling him out for a December fight. And Shavkat's like, you sure you want this? All right.
Sure. I could fight Leon in December, but if you want this work, I'll give you this work.
Let me go ahead and get you out of here. Let me save you from yourself right now. It's Shavkat or bust. Yes, I know Islam wants to fight. I get it. But look, man, this guy's a lightweight that I still want to see you fight. I still want to see you fight Gaethje. I still want to see you fight Holloway. If he decides to take that fight, whatever happens with Topuria. This lightweight that he could fight. Islam hasn't cleared out the division. I wouldn't mind the Oliveira rematch for Islam, right?
Yeah.
I don't need him going to welterweight right now. I need Leon to clear out welterweight.
You know who I want to see Leon fight?
Who, Conor?
I want to get weird. Leon versus Conor. Conor handle business in December. Stop fucking around.
We just don't know when that fight happens. Conor's weird, man.
No, it has to happen April in the UK outdoors.
Do you trust Conor to do anything on time?
I don't trust Conor to do anything. Anything. I'm not saying it's going to. I don't trust Conor to do anything. But it's the narrative I've been pushing. 3-weight champion. Bro, go and do it. If there's anything left to do, why are you here? If there's anything left to do and timing is in place, Leon doesn't have a direct money seller. They can hold off Shavkat for a year or two. Year and a half, not 2. You can't hold off 2. But a year and a half, Belal waited 5 years. You can hold him off a year and a half.
I mean, but Belal didn't have 100% finishing rate and split them between submissions and knockouts. That's the reason why Belal had to wait.
Yeah. But Shavkat, you could do Ian Machado Gary. You can do him and another number 2 or 3 guy. And then that gets you to next summer. And then it's all right, Conor, are you just retiring if you win? Because now we got to give you to this guy. And you
Conor can't beat Leon.
No. I don't know.
No, Conor gets washed by Leon Edwards.
Kind of might get washed by
You
fucking
might
what's
get
his face in
Michael
December.
Chandler. Yeah,
Michael
sure.
Chandler. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what he is, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. So we'll see how everything plays out. We appreciate you guys listening to all this combat, boxing, and MMA today. We're still gonna record pro wrestling. It was just AEW was on while we were recording this, and we kind of want to talk about everything going on. Blood and Guts is this weekend for AEW, and we are a week away from SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And yeah, WWE is going to be on Sci-Fi. So, I mean, maybe this week was their go home shows because a lot of shit happened because people may not watch next week.
That's true.
So they treated this week like the go home shows. So we got a lot to talk about there. SummerSlam card came together. We're also going to do like a quick little Patreon episode just because we need one for this week. And we're going to make it fun. We're going to do our half year kind of recap some of the funnest matchups we've seen this year, fights, uh, artists and music, matches and wrestling. So it's going to be a fun little Patreon episode. If you guys aren't part of our Corner Club, you're missing out. This one's going to be dope. So in the meantime, for myself, for the old man Andreas Hale, until next time, we're out.
Peace.